All right, guys, we're going to talk about real estate today, and it's not going to be doom and gloom. So it's actually going to be something positive in the midst of, some of the market data hasn't been too good with real estate, but that's kind of why I wanted to make this video and talk about these houses that are selling below 100,000 because, well, this is a market that isn't really getting affected as much by this slowdown. The market for these houses and the affordability at these prices is very, very high. So I think that's really cool. It's something that's kind of, withstanding some of this downturn. But also, I want to talk about it for you guys to really let you guys get an idea of seeing how accessible it is for you to purchase real estate at any level. Now, I'm going to focus on the cheapest way possible. I think I might make another video, some places in California there's, I could think of 5, 10 cities, those slightly higher than 100,000, but you could still make plays on them. But the whole idea here is to get into real estate. Now, the easiest, safest way is this is a great passive income strategy in the sense that it's very affordable to get one of these homes. You could get it on a loan, you could rent it out. And, in some areas, it's just all around great. So I want to go over these cities with you guys, talk about it. We'll even talk about some of the financing associated with that, or maybe I should even start with that. So some of you guys see, what's the point? Because even then, this is cheap when it comes to homes, but I'm sure some people might be thinking, okay, well, I don't even have, $100,000, whatever it may be. But even at $100,000 at 20% down, that's 20 grand down. We're not going to assume you have that at like 3.5 on a FHA. You need $3,000 and your payment's going to be $7, 752 cents at a pretty high interest rate. Now that's at 100,000. Some houses at like 50,000. Well, $50 can't do that. $50, 4% down. You're talking like a $400 payment. So this is like a car payment. And the fact of the matter is, most of these houses in these areas we're looking at, they're going to get rentals for, 2 bedrooms or more, even sometimes 1 bedroom. They're going to get more than 400 or 500 bucks. So you can make a few $100 a month, get to own a property. And overall, you could even do flipping as well too. However, that's going to be more capital intensive. But, the same thing applies. Like, even flipping in this market right now, flipping the higher end homes, you're going to be spending more time on market. There's those risks with everything happening. But these lower end properties that are selling, there's a lot of demand at $100,000, $150,000 price point. So let's get into it. The areas I'm looking at, I'm not going to go in any specific order. I will highlight, I guess, kind of my favorites. First one is Atlanta. This is one of my favorites. And I'm going to go over places that I think have good real estate markets that are very active, and that there's an opportunity to get something that's cheap, that has a good rental, and even potential equity and flip. Now, I like Atlanta. The only thing wrong with Atlanta is there has been a lot of price growth recently. So you might be buying stuff, and then you see, there's some of these houses that are kind of run down. They may not be worth the risk. Some areas aren't too great. You're going to have to verify that. And that's the thing, Atlanta is going to be a better area than others that I'm going to have on this list. There's two places I like, that I'll show you guys, but buying houses there aren't really, they're cheap, but it's, not as safe as an investment, and that's kind of when you get into real estate, that's where you start, rating the properties based on like class. There's A class, B class, C class, so on and so forth. And that's based on, the area, the condition of the property, the type of renters, the turnover, how much you get in rent for a unit tells you a lot about the property, the condition it's in, so on and so forth. So some of these are going to be, lower class properties. There is areas I like, but Atlanta, you can get some good, B class properties, which nothing's wrong with that. We own a lot of those, and you could get them at a pretty affordable price. And again, I like Atlanta, more equity growth and still a strong rental market, and it's overall just growing. There's a lot of things going good in Atlanta. The next one on the reverse end is Detroit. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this. You've probably heard of their $1 homes. I think like this one DJ, I forgot what it was. Some guy in the rap game bought a bunch of these houses for like 8,000 bucks, selling them for like 50,000 now. And Detroit is the home of cheap homes. It's a lot of cheap homes. They got problems with, local government all the way down to all sorts of stuff, crime, whatever it may be. But it's not really the nicest place. These are going to be the lower class properties, but they're cheaper, and a lot of people, foreign people, people from China, and foreign money has been going here, and a lot of people are taking this bet, buying massive amounts of units for very cheap because it is so cheap. And there is some people, even though this is going to be a place harder to collect rent, more riskier properties, there could be more damage on this $15,000 property than you're paying for it. But even then, you see it, 15,000 bucks for a house, that's crazy. You get that rented, you go get a mortgage on that. Again, if you want to, literally don't put any money down and just be as conservative as possible. It's like a $5,500 down payment and $170 a month. That's crazy to think about. But it's good here. And companies, if you buy more than one, I've been approached by people. I have people even in Chicago's another area. I'm not putting that on my list for today, but my buddy, he was trying to get me to buy 200 properties there. He said he'd manage them all. So that's kind of the same thing they got in Detroit, but this one, lower purchase price, way higher equity growth, but the rental market might not be as strong or safe. But and even then, it might not even go up as much. There's a reason why these properties stay this low. And if there's no real turnaround or stimulus, Detroit might really stay like that. So the next one I like is Buffalo. And, we have people in TTF from Buffalo. We have people, across the lake in Canada. And it gets a lot of things. It's a cold place. It's kind of more, upstate. It's not, you're not in the city when it comes to Buffalo, and you're right there near Canada, but near Niagara Falls. It's a pretty known place. You actually got a sports team, but even access to Canada and even just like tourism stuff. And I know they're doing a lot of redevelopment there, but homes are cheap. But I do know they're something pretty much. I think it's just this coastal view. And when you look across here, the how much people pay here. I don't know. Is that Toronto? Is that Toronto? I'm not sure if that's Toronto. You guys are gonna think I'm geographically retarded. No. So yeah, Toronto's there, but pretty much they pay for a similar view. You're near Lake Ontario, all that. So Rochester's on that list too, but Buffalo, Rochester, great areas, New York, and again, cheaper up there. So we got Buffalo, Detroit, Atlanta. Next one, close to where I went to college. I went to college in Tucson. I like Tucson. That's good, but there's more stuff going on in Phoenix, and in general, not as much of a selection. But Phoenix is one of those areas. You see not as much as selection. You see stuff like this. These are going to be mobile homes, so these aren't really homes. But the thing I do like, you kind of remove outlines, and if you go up a little higher, you do have these places that are near, you know, near Phoenix that are still good areas, just right outside. But if you could get anything cheap here, there's some deals you might need to put in a little work. In some of these outside cities, they could be some pretty good steals. So I like Phoenix. And then moving more into the desert, my favorite place, I would say actually, this is my favorite place just because Tyler Royke, no, but I love the market out there. Population growth. I've talked to people about this. We've butt heads on, the reason why it'd be growing and at what pace, but as just a stable, good real estate environment with just solid growth. I love San Antonio. I think good rentals market, decent appreciation, but overall just a hot market, good properties, and it's near a lot of stuff. Good favorable laws in Texas, near Austin, pretty decently far from Dallas, but overall great area and I like it. So again, putting this all together, you guys see, take a look in some of these areas, get familiar with some of these areas or even places like that. If you have areas you want me to check, let me know. I'll do an update with some houses in California and places you could go. But you see here, the idea is, you could always check an area, go on Craigslist and go see how much houses rent for if you're ever confused on the rental. But like we said, you could flip, you could do whatever you want, but right off the bat, you could get your hands on a house for relatively a small amount of money. You use the loans to leverage it properly, little down, the payments covered by the renters. It's no risk. You do take the risk. It's like a risk trade that they do with bonds and even, loan debt, where if you could borrow money at X rate and get a higher yield, you're just the person in the middle signing over the papers. If all else fails, you will take over. But again, in this market, you do your due diligence, and at these cheaper price points, it's pretty easy to avoid some of the problems. Doesn't mean you won't have problems. Doesn't mean, it's all willy-nilly and easy, but, it is something that is definitely bearable, especially if you guys are trying to, make money, get good passive income, and, start building up a real estate portfolio with relatively little money. So hopefully that helps. I'll give you guys some other real estate videos. I want to talk about even this whole process of getting the loan, buying real estate in general for both beginners and intermediate people. So, and just kind of step by step that process. But I'll leave that there. Hopefully this helped. Shoot out some areas. Let me know how much houses go for in your guys' areas. I would love to hear. But yeah, leave it there. Love you guys. Drop a like, subscribe. Peace.